I'd like to thank you guys all for coming. I've seen a couple of you at a couple different conventions, and you guys are always great to watch. Richard, it's like your first time seeing you, so I had a question for you. Before they did Beast Wars, the company that made it also did a great show called Reboot. And a lot of Beast Wars voice actors were in Reboot and then went on to Beast Wars. And then they made some Reboot movies that you did some voices in. Why weren't you in the show before Beast Wars? And
because
do
they
you feel like you
didn't
missed
cast me.
the simple answer. Did you feel like you missed out?
Well, yeah, that was because Reboot was one of the very first ones. In Vancouver, the voice industry really began to take off about 20 years ago. And 25 years ago now. Those first few shows, I might have told somebody here, I beat my head against the wall of voice auditions for about 3 years before I finally got something. And I was very disappointed not to be in the original Reboot, but I was quite pleased to be in the film. But yeah, that's the truth is that I auditioned for Reboot and I didn't get it.
Well, you did a great job in the movies.
Thank you so much.
And you know, on that note, that happens more often than not. That's another thing that you need in this business is a thick skin. Mm-hmm. You're going to get far more rejections than jobs.
They say about 15 to 1.
Is that right? That's the ratio?
About 15 to 1. You'll audition 15 times for every gig that you get.
That's in, I've never heard that.
So I would say that's an optimistic number.
Yeah, I would too. I would too.
Or maybe I...
Yeah, maybe we suck. We suck and Richard's great.
Well, that's what they say, yeah.
But it's I'm sorry, but that's a really important part of this business and something you need to know, and something that develops over time. I remember when I was a young actor, every rejection hurt.
Oh yeah.
And until you build that callus, you know, it's a difficult thing to do. But once you start to experience it, you begin to realize that, oh, I didn't get it because of this or that. He was more right for the part, or whatever it may be. So that's something you guys are going to have to, those of you who want to go into this, are going to have to go in knowing. It's tough on your ego.
It will beat you up if you let it.
Yep.
And a lot of people drop out for that very reason.
Yeah.
It just becomes too much for them personally to handle. Some very, very talented people that I worked with 30 years ago who are no longer in the business because they just couldn't deal with that constant building themselves up every time that they're told, no, this is not for you. And it becomes simple. I auditioned for a role in a film, and there's somebody with a larger role who's already been cast, who's 5'8" and bald and has a mustache. Well, they're not going to cast me because they've already got one. So sometimes it has nothing to do with you or your talent. It's just there are 3 other people in the show who look like you.
Yeah.
Well, and I've been talking about this through the weekend, but as far as the callus, at some point, if you've done all your work and your skill set is where it's supposed to be, you begin to realize not only are they trying to cast a winning team, and they may already have a shortstop, or I don't mean shortstop, but I'm a shortstop also.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, at that point of your self-awareness, the things that you don't get are not because you weren't castable or you didn't give them something that was castable. It's because of you address everything that is within your control, and you become willing to accept everything that's outside of your control. If not, this is not the right game for you to play in. The producers and directors and executive producers are going to make the best choices for their project, which doesn't mean that you didn't give them something that was castable when you went in. That was your job, the rest becomes their job.
I try to go into an audition, do with the best that I can, leave it all in the room, as they say, and then forget it.
Yeah.
Forget that I did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a week or 2 later, if the agent calls and says, oh, you got this thing, oh, really? What's that? I try to forget about it altogether.
But it helps if you have something to go on to.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You know, if you have an audition up next Tuesday that you have to go on to, that helps. I don't want to belabor this, but I was in LA for 5 years before anything happened for me of note. And what happened was Spider-Man and His Amazing Friend, so it was worth the wait, okay? But I've talked to people who said, you know, I think I'll come out and, you know, give it a year. Don't bother. Unless you're totally committed to this, unless you've got it in your gut, in your heart, in your soul, and you have to do this, great. If not, choose another profession. That was some great advice that was given to me by an actor, a great long time, Don Gantry. Remember Don? Mm-hmm. And it's great advice. Unless you really have to do this, don't do it, because it's really rough and it's really hard, and oh God, we suffer.
And the way I heard it said was, if anyone can talk you out of pursuing this as a career, let them.
Yeah, and I hope I have. Because we've got enough competition as it is.
That's it. We don't need you, Eli.
But if nobody can, then good luck to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.